The Flyin Lion says,
Boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
Just give me a reason to drink some Guinness in the morning.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
I appreciate the opportunity.
It's definitely tougher to be an academy player than it is a pro.
Soccer's my favorite sport now.
The jersey swap was
My car of the week, trivia question of the
week. Welcome back, everyone, to the Flyin Lion podcast on a 4-point week for FC Cincinnati. That means a win and a draw. So some good that came out of it. No losses, Sam. So definitely happy about that. How are we doing on this rainy Monday night?
Yeah, doing good. Like you said, walked away with 4 points. Not mad about it. We continue to be undefeated against the Western Conference and up the road record a little bit this year too. So that's good. I don't know the coming weeks. I know this weekend we've got a tough challenge, another Western Conference team. We'll see if we can go. I think this is our last one for the season, if I'm correct. So we'll see if we can go undefeated for the rest of the season against Western Conference. I'm sure there's a stat out there where it's like never been done before or only been done twice or something like that. So I look forward to that stat.
Yeah, and I wanted to just correct from last week. I did mention that St. Louis was in the East, which at one point we thought would happen. They're still in the West, so I apologize to everyone for listening to that and was confused by that. But yeah, I mean, this year 5-0 against the Western Conference. So this game on Wednesday, match day 29, 2-1 win over Minnesota in Minnesota, Sam. So another road win for FC Cincinnati. That makes 10 on the year, which is pretty crazy. The lineup we had for this game, pretty much what we would have expected in a lot of ways. Celentano, Orellano, Murphy, Robinson, Awazium, Yedlin, Buka, Obi, Costa. I said it like you did, Sam. Kelsey, and then Kubo. So we got Kubo back up top. Nico was out with his nose, but did return for the Saturday game.
Yeah, I had mentioned that, this is one of the strongest lineups we've put out in a while now. So it was nice to see everybody healthy, everybody back. And I know you had posed the question to some people online, like without, Nico on the squad, who gets dropped, right? So I know you never gave a response. I did. Mine was Corey Baird. But Ryan, who are you wanting to drop if Nico slots in there on the bench or starting lineup?
I mean, it's a tough spot. I mean, London actually wasn't even on the bench. So whoever had put that on there, like, I don't know if you just skipped over it or what, but yeah, Corey Baird would be a good shout. I think Malik Pinto, just because he is a younger player, it is the one, but it's tough. I mean, that's a product to the quality
midfield depth as well.
Bench. But you need the midfield depth, so I'm really conflicted. So at striker, like, you have Santos, you have Dada that could play in that position, you have Kubo there. Like,
yeah,
so
but
I think
Ryan,
to your point, Baird probably would be the most logical.
But we need Corey Baird. He's a left wing back depth. Like, we need him there though.
Yeah, that experiment has come and gone, Sam. We've
no. All right.
We have moved on from the Corey Baird experiment. That I feel like that's a David Bell thing to do. Oh, too soon. Sorry about that. Oh. But yeah, as Sam's wearing his Cincinnati Reds for those who are listening. But yeah, it was an interesting one. It's definitely, like you had put on here, the strongest lineup that we've seen. And honestly, like, is this the one that we're going to see in the playoffs, Sam?
I would hope so. They put out, a great showing, aside from, a weird just call for a penalty. We'll talk a little about it here soon. Other than that, like, out and out, we played pretty well. Couple chances in the first half, but played pretty well defensively and offensively.
Going into Minnesota, I mean, they had just won the game prior as well. So, I mean, it's always tough. We lost 7-1 there a couple of years ago. So, I mean, it's a tough atmosphere. It was a Wednesday night game, but they showed out more, honestly, than Nashville fans did. So a little bit of a slight there on that. But yeah, I felt like in the game in total, like, we got out to a quick lead, and that's the way that it should go. And we saw the first goal for Kubo come on a play that, Awazium just has a brilliant weighted ball from the center back that breaks the lines all the way through to the forward on a run. But if you look about 15 minutes earlier, he did the same exact type of ball, almost got it to Lucho, I think it was. So they were looking for that. I think that was definitely something that they scouted and said, Awazim, you can put it right there for them. The forwards or even Lucha is going to have that space. So that was something that they saw. They didn't get it on the first time. The second one, just brilliantly weighted, brilliantly finished shot by Kubo too.
Oh, absolutely. I know, we've talked about Waziem and his passing ability. He's got his moments though, like where it's literally like crazy pinpoint accuracy that he's shown this year. I know a little bit in, this game and in the Nashville game. He was like pinpointing crosses across the pitch. So Kubo, slots it away this time, and great finish by him once again to put us up 1-0. But earlier it could have been 1-1 thanks to Roman though, that 1v1 mistake of, I don't know, is it Yedlin, right?
Yedlin
That kind of just like
slips.
slips, takes like a too
Yeah.
heavy of a touch. And I mean, that was a great save there, but we're up 1-0, feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, definitely have to think that we're lucky, but good thing that Salentano's coming out of, the crew match and is feeling himself. And this one, like, saves one off of a corner on a header, I think, saves the breakaway, which in years past we hadn't necessarily seen. But yeah, and it leads to probably a good feeling for the team to say, all right, but we're still in this. And then they get a goal, and then they get a second goal, Sam. So, I mean, honestly, like Kubo just plays unbelievably in this half. Like it got to be one of the strongest halves we've seen besides the Miami game. But on a backheeled ball to Orellano that's making a run in from the left, then nutmegs the guy and hits it with the outside of his left foot around the keeper. Like what else can this guy do, man? It's unbelievable.
Absolutely amazing. I know just watching that play, you're seeing him just cut from the left side, and he keeps going and he keeps going, cutting across. And at one moment, Ryan, I thought, is this the time? Is he going to use the right foot? Like, is this it? And of course not. It's never the right foot. Outside left. Gosh, what a finish though. Like once again, it's coming and you cannot stop it. Like he's incredible. He really is. And after that goal, I'm pretty sure like, I did the goal tweet like we do all the time. But then I put out that DP question and we got some responses that we'll talk about later.
Yeah, it makes you wonder. And like in this play, like going up 2-0 is huge, especially on the road. It kind of kills a lot of the momentum, especially like right before half as well. We've had many times this year where we haven't taken advantage of that. So to have Orellano come in and use the left foot in a spot where, coaches would tell you to use the right, he gets the job done.
Come
That's all
on.
that
Yeah.
matters. He scores. He scores in that moment. We're up 2-0. We go to half. We're feeling honestly really, really good about how things are going, besides the first, 10 minutes of the game. But they settled in, and that was the important thing. They weren't out of it, and then they dominated. We go into the second half, though, Sam, and this play happens on the edge of the box with Orellano, and whichever way you want to draw it up, like the guy leans his head down to the ball, and Orellano like clearly doesn't see the guy there. He's going to kick the ball, but I mean, is that number one in the box? Number two, is that even a PK? Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know about a PK there. It didn't look like much contact, if at all. We had been texting back and forth. The player puts his head towards the ball actively. So that's kind of on him. Like he knows he's putting his head in a danger zone. And when it hits him, there's kind of a delayed reaction. And then at the same time, I'm going, it kind of look if there is a foul, if any, it kind of looks like it was like outside the box as well.
Yeah, does the contact initiate there? I mean, the guy fully sells it. I mean, he just falls, flops on the ground. But like a dangerous kick could be at Lucho's head height, and that
Yeah.
means it's somebody else's waist. Like that's not a dangerous kick at that point. So I mean, you can't blame Orellano for just trying to clear the ball out in that spot. And if the guy brought his head down, like, what are you supposed to do? Draw it back real quick? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. That was ridiculous. So it really brings him back into the game. Let's talk about the PK and how this guy has a delayed kind of like stop, and then Roman just dives like right away and he just slots it in. So I don't know if we're ever going to get a Roman Solentano PK save. I really would challenge Roman. Let's at least see like some sort of like guessing the right way. I know he's done it before, but it just always seems a little bit off. But hey, 2-1 at that point. And then we really just have to kind of hold on, unfortunately, because like we felt like we dominated. They get back into the game on this call. And then you're kind of scrambling towards the end. We don't have Lucho for a full 90. And then it comes down to extra time. There's a corner, of course, because it's a corner for FC Cincinnati. And the ball falls to Dado, who had subbed in at the time. It kind of comes up and hits him in the chest. I'm going to say chest because I don't think his arm is in an unnatural position. They don't even review it because they know how ridiculous the last call was.
Yeah, I was like holding my breath because the ref hadn't like blown the whistle or anything. So people were kind of like, please just blow the whistle, blow the whistle. And eventually they blew the whistle. But yeah, we kind of wild ending just on our side of the field, honestly, because before that you have the Roman save, you've got the Cheeto deflection as well to put it over the goal, like barely. So we're
Yeah.
kind of getting by the skin of our teeth on that win with a 2-1 win.
Yeah, we'll take it though, man.
Yeah,
That's 3 points
three
on the
points,
road.
three points.
3 points, yeah, 10 wins, like I mentioned earlier. That's top four all time now in MLS history. The record is 13 wins on the road, which I honestly I couldn't tell you. I think it was Kansas City who had that. But shout out to we had Kubo with his 150th appearance. We had Ian Murphy for his 100th appearance. It seems like all these guys are hitting their milestones right
I
around
know,
the
yeah.
same one. And then we did have Lucho as the first FCC player to hit 10,000 MLS regular season minutes, which is pretty cool. The record, Sam, I went and looked at this, is like 44,000 minutes, which is just insane. I feel like Lucho's been like a MLS lifer. He hasn't, but it feels like that. And
Yeah.
only 10,000, but 40 something thousand is the record. That's insane.
Well, that doesn't include his DC United days. I think that's just FCC.
Yeah, he was only
So
there
he's
for
got a
a
little
couple
bit more,
years. Yeah,
it's
sure,
not
sure.
much more, but yeah. 40,000 was it like probably like Chris Wondolowski or somebody like that?
Goalkeepers, I think. Pretty sure it's
Goalkeepers.
goalkeepers. Yeah,
Yeah,
because they can
yeah.
play until they're like 40.
True.
Yeah. But past that, we did get the Kubo goal, Sam, as the 250th MLS regular season goal in club history. And then Orellano's goal was the 300th across all competitions since 2019, I think. So that's also kind of impressive. Definitely more on the back
Yeah,
end,
yeah.
that the scoring's been happening. But yeah, I think to grind it out, overall impression on that is like getting a win. No matter what's against us, you play a solid half. Like, can we sustain that a whole game? Probably in that moment, like to have the composure and to have the guys kind of come together and say, let's see this out, for me was impressive and led to this next game. So on Saturday, we had a 2-2 draw against Nashville at Nashville, for the limited amount of fans that, did make it down to that game. In Nashville, I know a lot of SC Cincinnati people did go, which was awesome to see. But yeah, this game, a little bit interesting, Sam, when the lineup comes out. I'm going to let you kind of shout out what you saw in this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, we had both seen kind of this interesting lineup that came out. We had talked about coming into the week, are we going to sit anybody? Is, they're going to be a rotated squad, maybe for Wednesday, and then, Saturday is usually when we bring the squad. We end up playing our best lineup we've seen on a Wednesday. And then on Saturday, heavily rotated squad. You got obviously Celentano in the back, Assad in the starting lineup with Murphy, Robinson, Awaziem, and then Orellano. But then you've got Obi, Kubo, Acosta, Santos, and Nico. So up top, there's a little bit of a shake. No Kelsey up top. Obviously, something going on with Buko, with Buka, coming into the game after the last game. The injury report comes out and it says he's questionable. I didn't see anything else. Did you see anything on the Twitter sphere?
Yeah, his wife, I believe, is close to delivering their first child. And I wonder, having just honestly gone through this, that, maybe she did have some sort of inkling that this could happen soon, and he didn't want to travel, to Nashville if there was an opportunity or chance. That would make the most sense to me for a non-injury related thing,
No,
considering his
yeah,
wife
yeah, yeah.
is here in Cincinnati. So I think that's what that comes down to. Honestly, hope for the best for him and his family, and everything
Yeah,
is
if
going
you
well in that. But
shout out real quick to the YouTube episode that FC Cincinnati put out
yeah,
about Pavel and his wife and his family. The lengths they had to go to bring their dog over was wow. I mean, it took a while, but happy to see that they're kind of creating that family here in Cincinnati. They said it's kind of like Prague.
Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. Prague and Cincinnati, what a comparison. But yeah, prior to this game, Sam, he led the team in minutes. He was tied for games played with Orellano, top like 10, I think, in minutes in MLS. So, I mean, he'd been a journeyman for FC Cincinnati this whole year through Champions Cup. Like, he came in and right away was like, this is my spot and nobody else is going to take it. So, yeah, we missed him in this game, honestly. Besides him, it was a little bit odd for me that we talked about so much in the prior games, consistency in the lineup. Like, definitely his hand got forced because of Buka. I get that. But like everywhere else you look, like outside backs kind of changed different places. Your strikers had to change up a little bit. At every level of the team, like there was some sort of change. So how are we talking about consistency and keeping good run of form if we're changing things? Like that's the only thing that makes not as much sense to me, but again, I'm not the coach. Assad came back after his injury in Leagues Cup, so that was good to at least see him back out there. I did feel like he was a little bit rusty to start though, so I hope he can turn that around. In fourth minute of the game, we see that, and I just wonder, Nashville's goal comes pretty quick. Is that because again, like we didn't have the same guys that we rolled out with a couple of days ago? Is that a product of fitness again? Like we don't know where these guys stand and you want to preserve for the end of the season, make sure you're not getting injuries. But a little bit interesting there. The goal that Nashville scores, Sam, what'd you see in that play?
Yeah, I mean, the goal itself, all three of our center backs are going to the front post. And then as soon as the ball goes over their head, they're caught watching, right? They're not really trying to find the nearest, attacker to kind of, either deflect the shot or just clear it out. And then obviously you see on the near side to your screen, Orellano is getting down late on that, right hand side. So the combination of the two just Surge slots it away too easy for Nashville.
Too easy is right. I mean, shouldn't have been, what, 4 minutes into the game like that. And Surge is on a good run of form, but like, yeah, mark a guy. I think somebody, Zach, maybe shouted it out a couple episodes ago. Wasn't it, Sam, about marking?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it was literally his card last week was
Yeah.
man marking.
Yeah. So there
He
you
was,
go.
and I believe he ended the card with saying just man mark, and I guess they didn't listen.
On a couple different situations. But fourth minute to ninth minute, Lucho, man, what a goal. At first I think this play, starts on the wing. Orshano does like what, 10 different scissors, looks like Cristiano Ronaldo. And then draws another defender if you go back and look at it. Plays to Assad. Assad gets fouled and dummies the ball like at the same time. So it would have been a foul if Lucho didn't make it. Um, Maybe not with this ref, I'm not sure. But falls to Lucho's feet outside the box, rips one, past the keeper on the left. And again, at the moment, I thought deflected in, but looking back on it, just a brilliantly played ball for him. Sam, his first goal since July 13th in any competition. So really kind of a confidence thing for him, I think, in that moment. And honestly, a great response just coming 5 minutes after, what they saw with Nashville.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was a great finish. Just much like you, I'm sure everybody thought it looked deflected. It kind of like took like a weird bounce or weird, I don't know, just shot into the goal. But great finish, great dummy by Assad, like you said. Oreshano doing 20 different step overs to get to that point was actually really funny. But I think the commentators had said something about it as well, which he's always been there, but Lucho kind of puts himself back into the MVP talks with that goal because he's got 30 goal contributions now, which I think has only been done 4 times in MLS history, right? So
Yeah.
pretty big deal there. And if he continues to add assists or goals throughout the next couple matches, I think he could have a good shot.
Should be like a full segment on a conversation about that. Like I have a lot of strong things to say, but we'll keep moving along. Nashville scores in the 25th minute. I mean, we're feeling pretty decent, and then Surge again, Sam. Like this guy is finding his way into a good run of form and to this header, like wide open, right? Why is Sergio Santos marking this guy?
Man marking?
Man
Man
marking.
marking?
Man marking on a corner. Imagine that. We have a stat about that coming up. So at the end of this segment, we'll tell you. But yeah, again, another corner. I just don't understand how they have so much space. We'll leave it at that. Past that, we're down 2-1 again. So we're trying to come back and fight for our lives again on the road. And the 39th minute, Sam, like I have no clue what happens in this play. I mean, I still like I see what they're saying, but like there's no way that this goal that Nico Giacchini scores, is called back. Everyone's like, oh, offside. You go back and look. No, no offside anywhere close. Oh, obstruction? You mean the guy that's trying to walk out of the way and the other guy that gets mad that we scored and doesn't even notice that there's like an obstruction? Like, no way. No way. And so we'll get into this more, but I mean at that point, right before half, it should be 2-2. You're going into the break and you got to be upset. Like I'm sure Pat had to say like keep your composure because in the second half, Sam, we come out and Orellano just has a golazo. Amazing free kick from what would you say about 24 out, 25 out?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say around that 20 to 25 range for sure. It was beautiful, beautiful
Which is
free kick.
short. That's short
Yeah.
for him. What a
Yeah, I
short
know.
distance.
I know. Yeah, he's usually used to that, 80, 70 mark. But yeah, I think, you look at the slow motion afterwards, keeper barely gets a hand on it. I mean, not much the keeper can do when it's slotted right in the corner. I know it's always deadly now. Now that Orellano's really picked up his free kick game the past probably 5, 10 games, right? Just as far as like accuracy. Who's gonna take it? Lucho or Orellano at this point? Because pick your poison. We're gonna slot one in.
Well, he's definitely convinced Lucho for that part of things
Oh yeah.
lately and on corners, Sam. Like I feel like he's taken a lot more corners as well, and he's earned it. I mean, the balls
Yeah.
are more dangerous. Past that point, we're 2-2, and what a good comeback again. This reminded me of Toronto. This reminded me of several other games where we're down and we just keep fighting back. Philly, I think Philly was the same
Yeah.
way. But past the 52nd minute, like not a ton happens. I mean, there's chances by both teams, but nothing to, go crazy about, I would say. We have to take the game by the horns and say, like, if we want to win, we got to go out and do it. And you do get some subs that come in and try to make an impact, but I just didn't feel like there was sustained effort. Like we had Kubo with a couple of shots that were pretty close, but to win on the road, I mean, maybe it was that they had their wins knocked out of their sails, trying to come back so many times, and they had a goal called back. I mean, what were your thoughts kind of towards the end of the game?
Yeah, towards the end of the game, I mean, you're just looking to salvage a point, right, on the road, and that's what we got, right. Obviously, we would have hoped for a win, but the chances that we were getting weren't too good. So it is what it is. But my impressions overall for the game, I did, as we're gonna get into these stats for the game, which is awesome, but FC Cincinnati has given up 5 goals in the first 10 minutes this season. So it's a decent amount of goals within the first 10 minutes of a game throughout the course of a season. So it's a little tough. I
A
know.
lot of those goals have come in the last like 7 games, I think, because prior
No, I
to like
know. Yeah,
August,
since July,
yeah,
all
July.
5 of them have come since July.
I mean, there was a stat that said in the first 15 minutes of the game we hadn't given up a single
Yeah,
goal.
yeah. So since July, I think the first one I saw was against Red Bulls.
Yeah.
Lewis Morgan, right?
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, other impressions. Lucho only had one shot during this game, obviously on target, hit it. Other players are stepping up, so good to see that. But Lucho's always going to make his chances count, which is nice to see. And it's the only second away draw of the season for FC Cincinnati. So clearly we're good on the road. We're going to continue to be, and we're going to finish out the season hot on the road.
It's interesting. I mean, having the second away draw, especially in such like hostile environments, but I feel like when we've won our games, we've usually been ahead in those games.
Yeah.
And I think there's a stat out there, like in games that we've been leading, we're like 15-1. So the key for this team generally is to like get ahead and stay ahead. But in moments where we've gone down, we've had decent composure to even like come back and like to salvage draws on the road like two different times. So yeah, that's a good point on all of what you mentioned. My impressions, I mean, from the get-go, like I feel like the lineup kind of shook up the vibe early on in the first half, and the center backs, I mean, those were the same, but the outside backs, having them kind of inverted again, like why not go back to what worked the game before? I know your hand is forced with Buka and you have Kubo there, which is solid, but like there's a question of should Kubo be more forward, and we'll get into that. Past that, like I really do hope that we can finish some more chances. Like how many different times do we have like in this game 14 shots, 5 on goal, twice as many shots as they did. Like we need to be able to finish 7 corners, Sam, and 65% possession. So it tells me like in some ways they do better countering against that than they do dominating the game in possession.
Yeah, on that stat as well, we had 27 to their 9 touches inside the opposing team's box.
Yeah, being able to like finish it, I mean, it's huge. And I want to like get on Nico Giacchini for scoring, but like he did score in this game. So like
Yeah.
I can't be too mad about that. Like he's gotten his opportunity finally back from his nose in Miss Wednesday. But yeah, past that, 100th appearance for Roman, for Obi. Again, more milestones for these guys. It just shows that they're sticking around and contributing. And honestly, like the spine of the team is generally going to be the same, even if there is some rotation. So as long as you have that, you're going to find a result with the guys that you have, which I think is promising. Now, how do we take that even to the next level and be consistent and like winning consecutively like we did earlier on in the year? Sam, I want to hear your stat. You had this one about Lucho on here that was really interesting.
Yeah, I was looking at all of the stats once again, and like I said earlier, Acosta's 30 goal contributions are actually the second most in FC Cincinnati history, only behind his 31 from last season. But then also in MLS history, like I said, he became the fourth player to record at least 30 goal contributions behind Sebastian Giovinco, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and Joseph Martinez.
Pretty good company.
Not
And
bad there.
that's what you're telling me. And Evander is the guy I think that leads the league right now with like what 33, I want to say. Like he's got 3 more than him.
Yeah, he's the guy that won man of the match day over Kubo, but it's fine. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean he's had a heck of a year, honestly, too, but his team's in like 8th or 9th place. So how much can you vote for him as MVP? Just saying. Just saying. But we did get some answers, Sam. We had been asking questions. I'm sure FCC Land has also been asking the questions about set pieces. So shout out Patrick O'Leary. He gave us an answer here. 12 set piece goals allowed by FCC on the year, which is kind of the middle of the MLS. We've had 7 goals off of corners, though, which is tied for 4th in the MLS. And I mean, 7's a large number off of a corner. I mean, that's way too many.
Yeah, I know we're talking about set piece goals, talking about goals given up within the first 10 minutes. We're full of stats this episode. I promise you we'll keep it coming.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out, we got teenage Hadebe, his first debut for the team, looked decent in the time that he was there. Looking to see him moving forward, maybe slide into more of a starting role. We'll see. It'll be a good battle. It'll honestly be a good push for Murphy to consistently like play well in that
Yeah.
position. I'm gonna let you kind of touch on this next topic though. You mentioned it earlier on in the pod. Let's hear it.
No, yeah. So I had put out the poll: is Orellano, worth a DP spot or not after his goal? And we got around 50 votes on Twitter. 85% saying yes, 10% saying no, and then the other option that I put in there was I wish, but no, and that got 5%. So he's currently making around $90,000 a year, and then if he was a DP spot, he would be making $350,000. Since he's over 23, that's kind of like the minimum.
I'm in the 5%, Sam. I really wish this guy was, but like for us to be the best team in the MLS, like we kind of need him to not occupy that spot for somebody else to come in. I mean, the dude deserves the world. I mean, what a player. But to make, close to 90,000, like that, I saw a segment somewhere online about like underrated players in the MLS, and like everyone knows him by now. He's an all-star. He'll probably make best 11 in the MLS, but yeah, I mean, you got to wonder. I love the poll though. A lot of people are pretty confident that he would be, but should he be? That's a
Well, that's
question.
I asked it right after the goal. So, there was, a lot of passion, filled
True,
up.
true. Speaking on the man, Sam, my trivia question this week is related to Luca Orellano. How many free kick goals does he have this year for FC Cincinnati?
I'm gonna go with 4. I think he's got the 2 long range ones, and then he's got 2 a little bit outside the box, I think.
Sam's locking in 4, and we will tell you guys by the end of the episode if he was right. Be right back. Hey everyone, we have some exciting news. We are thrilled to announce a partnership with BetStamp and Sign Up Expert, opening up an incredible opportunity for you to join some of our favorite sportsbooks to get the best odds and new user offers.
Head over to our dedicated page at signupexpert.com/flyinlions to explore a selection of sportsbooks tailored to your region, each with unique offerings.
If you're ready to take your sports betting to the next level and show some love for our brand, we highly recommend signing up for your next sportsbook through our Sign Up Expert link. Once again, visit signupexpert.com/flyinlions to place your bets today. Enjoy. We are back tonight on this Monday night talking about FC Cincinnati. Hopefully a Bengals win by the time that everyone is listening to this as well. I know we have Monday Night Football coming on here soon. But before we talk about the Bengals more, no, just kidding. We're not going to talk about the Bengals. We're going to get into our cards of the week, Sam. What was your card of the week?
Yeah, so this is just a consensus thing that I saw. There were some FC Cincinnati fans that were a little upset with the last game against Nashville with Kubo not playing up top. I just want to preface, the man can play 8 or 9 out of the 11 positions on the field. He is one of the best players we have up top, but he is also our 3rd best center midfielder. So without Buka, who else would you want in the middle? With a rotated squad, Pat threw out a consistent piece in Kubo, and we got a 2-2 draw. I can't imagine if he would have thrown somebody else in the middle, what that result could have been.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a props to Buka, right? I mean, just for how consistent he's been, and that like nobody can fill into his role as well as he can. Like, what a great honor, Absolutely. Yeah, it is interesting though that his hands forced. Would you have wanted Dado in that spot? Like maybe, but he's not as
Yeah, but
defensive.
Dado doesn't play that. Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to cover a ton of ground because Obi's like everywhere, right? So. Yeah, that's a great shout. We just need to kind of keep our head in that situation and understand, like, look, like this is what the guy's got to work with.
Which I mean, like I said, we want him up top. We do. It makes
Yeah,
sense. He's
yeah.
putting in the goals. But once again, if the man's a Swiss Army knife and he can play all these other positions, even if it's not his best, like slot him in there and you're gonna get the best from him.
Did you have an honorable part to your card?
I did. I had an honorable mention. I had tweeted this out as well. The commentary had said that this was a very fierce rivalry between 2 teams that were separated by 250 miles.
That's not a
So,
rivalry.
I mean, Ryan, I don't know about you, but it's a lot of miles for a rivalry, in my opinion.
Yeah, Sam, that ain't it. I'm trying to find it. Nashville defender Taylor Washington talked about the game and their rivalry with Cincinnati after the match in the post game and talking about it. But if they have to force it that hard, like again, like
It's
okay,
not.
maybe yeah, it's not. And
That's not.
they beat us and we tied, right? So we didn't get the better end of like this, season duel this year, but like it's not a rivalry. Like
No.
let's kill it right now. It's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, great shout on that. I love the honorable mention. But my card of the week, Sam, was the VAR situation or lack thereof against us in both these matches. Like, how many times, for FC Cincinnati has it been like, oh, we're scoring, like we can go celebrate. Checks over, to the linesman. Wait, no, we can't. We got something. We gotta find something out of this play to call a foul or an obstruction. So, in the Minnesota game, that one specifically, we talked about that earlier, so I don't think I need to elaborate much. The second one, even the commentary squad is saying, I'm not really sure what anyone saw in that. And then after the game, we had to do a pool question with the refs just to understand, like, why. And how does the guy on the field, from the sideline call that play in the moment from 40 yards away? I mean, Pat said it too. Like, at least go to VAR and check and see, like, is there an actual obstruction there or not? Like, he is so flag happy in a scoring play. Like, wait until the play's over to call it, and the guy lets it go through, obviously, and then blows it. But there's no check at all to see if that is correct, like on the field or not, for people that are literally looking at moment by moment. And the defender, again, like to my point earlier, the defender just throws his hands up after the play and is upset that we scored. Like, he doesn't even know there's an obstruction.
Yeah, I thought that whole play, obviously, it was weird. It was very weird how everything went down. And then I know the FC Cincinnati bench, rightfully so, was very upset. I know commentary was kind of saying like Dominic Kinnear was like kind of having it out with the fourth official there.
Shout out to
Um,
Dom. He always does.
exactly about just like, hey, like give me an explanation on this because nobody's telling us like what actually happened until commentary 5-10 minutes later gets confirmation. Yeah, just a very weird circumstance there.
Still super confused. I mean, that was like 2-2 at the time. Luca's goal would have been 3-2. So, like, it's a big moment. Like, you
Yeah.
can't. Why in this day and age are we not even just looking at it? Like, go and at least look at it.
Yeah.
Very frustrating. On the flip side, though, jersey swap, Sam. Let's hear it.
Yeah, I gotta go with my guy Kubo. First off, reaching 150 appearances. He had 1 goal, 1 assist in the Minnesota game. 10th league goal on the season. This is his first time being in double digits since 2017-18 with Ghent. And then he's now also the all-time single-season Japanese goal leader in the MLS. So that's an incredible achievement there. MLS team in the match day for Wednesday. And then on Saturday, in the midfield, leading the team with 5 tackles and 8 duels won.
What more do you want? I mean, just from a guy that can do it all. I mean, as much as we love Orellano and we love Lucho, like, Kubo's got to be your MVP of the team for this year, right?
Absolutely. I mean, the way that Pat has used him in a rotated squad in the best starting lineups, like he is a consistent piece throughout it all, right? It is definitely one of those players, like you had said. I know a lot of times with injury and suspension and stuff that's gone on this season, Pat has literally just thrown the best players on the field, right? And for some players, it hasn't worked out because they're not playing their natural position. Doesn't really matter for Kubo. It doesn't. He's going to play hard. He's going to play good no matter where he's at.
Yeah, no, great shout. Had a really good week, honestly, too, and we needed it in different ways, and
Yeah.
that's what speaks to him and, like, the value part of it. Most valuable player for his team. Like, Lucho with his game-winning goals, like, absolutely. Or Shano when filling in when we needed him to, absolutely. But, like, for Kubo to do it in different positions, like, have Lucho go play right back. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, huge shout out to him. He had a good week. I went with Luca Orellano. Shocker again, right? But 2 goals on the week. Really has kept us honestly in games. Like, has the game winner in one game, and then the game tire in the next. So yeah, I mean, huge player, huge moment for him to shine. He's got to be MLS best 11, and probably, like, left wing back is his position that he puts in, but, like, it could be a lot of different places.
Well, I don't know, Ryan. They just named him to team of the match day, and he was a right center back. So he's looking good on that team sheet.
They just had to throw him in there
I
somewhere. It's
know.
his seventh one of the season, though, which is
Yeah.
second most behind Lucho. and honestly up there probably in the MLS for the most too. Like I had mentioned, there's always an FCC player in the match day 11, which is what you
Yeah.
want. That means they're doing well. And doing well, Sam. FC Cincinnati 2 is also killing it. They had a win just yesterday night, Sunday night, against Huntsville City away down in Alabama. They had a 2-0 win. They have 51 points on the year. They're first in the East, second overall in MLS Next Pro. I mean, what a turnaround for them. They had a Brian Schaefer goal, Yair Ramos goal, um, to win it there. And I think they have, what, 2 games left, one at home. They play NYCFC coming up. They have another one, I think, that'll be at TQL. So go and support the young Garys. They're, I think currently right now, are they still beating NYCFC? Is that
I believe so. Looking at the standings, I was just looking at the standings. Where are they at? Right now we are up on them by 2 points,
okay?
but I think it's one of those situations where I think they have a goal differential of 18 and we have a goal differential of 13, right? So we, even if we win the next game, we still have to either draw or get a result against Orlando, I believe, at home. So that game might be actually like a deciding factor there. I'm assuming they win some hardware, right? Kind of like
Mhm. Yeah,
the
no,
Supporter Shield, something like that, right?
that would be really cool. And honestly, just another shout out to them for turning it around. And like
Yeah.
MLS Next Pro is one thing, but go and look at the FCC Academy, Sam. Like this week, it's announced that we get this new player, Ademir Chavez, 15-year-old youth national team and Mexico national team midfielder, came over from the LA Galaxy Academy. He trained with a Real Madrid star, Tulameni, right?
Yeah.
In the summer. So what, I mean, a steal, number one. And then we get another guy, Joshua Jimenez from New York Red Bulls, another 14-year-old. So like again, these guys are rated super high. They're super young, but like the talent is undeniable. It looks like Jimenez does have Guatemalan roots too. He doesn't have any caps for the national team yet, but yeah, I mean, somebody had a post online about how many players that FCC has actually stolen from other academies.
Yeah.
So it just shows you like they're building all of the right things to be even better than Dallas and Philly and all of it. Like it's
Hey,
great.
everybody wants to come to Cincinnati.
Yeah. I mean, they see what we're doing. They see the stability in top to bottom. You know, it's a really good model of bringing them up, hopefully in the same system and the same play styles. Like, I love this.
Yeah, parents, coaches, FC Cincinnati's development is unlike anything you'll ever see. So obviously they don't sponsor us, but hey, we're just gonna say it. We're gonna put it out there. If you're listening, go take your kid to FCC.
Yeah, I definitely will at some point if they have a women's team. Hopefully, that's going to be announced here sooner than later. But as we move on, Sam, we do have a match day, like you mentioned earlier on in the pod, a big, big matchup against LAFC, not the LA Galaxy, the other LA team. We play, actually, it's kind of interesting, them on Saturday, but Sam, they have a game on Wednesday.
Yeah, they play the Kansas City on Wednesday in the Open Cup final. So I wonder how this is gonna like factor with their team. I know this last game, looking at their game, they lost to Dallas 3-1. It was their first MLS game for their keeper that they threw in there, who I think is just new to the squad. But they had a rotated squad in that game, kind of like us against Nashville a little bit. So it'll be interesting to see if they go with two back-to-back games with rotated squads or what kind of LAFC team that we get. But
Sam,
it
what's a
doesn't really matter.
rotated squad for
Doesn't really
LAFC?
matter, does it? No.
What is a rotated squad for LAFC? Tell me. Tell me the players.
So the star-studded lineup, right, that we're gonna mention here, they've got Hugo Lloris, Aaron Long. They just signed Marlon Campos, O'Brien, Giroux, Vela back on the squad, Buanga, Oliveira, Ryan. Not mentioning, so take out Vela and even Kai Kamara that are on the teams, right?
FCC legend Kai Kamara.
Yes, take those two guys out because they're on cheap deals. Everybody else that I just mentioned valued at a total of $41.4 million.
Our whole team is worth 48. That's insane. I mean, Lloris is a World Cup champ. Giroud is a World Cup champ. O'Brien played in the Premier League. Bouanga is unbelievable. I mean, I don't want to like get too into it, but like it'll be a tough go. But they have not played well against Ohio teams. So we shall see. We had played them 2 years ago at home. We lost 2-1 in that game, but it was Roman's first game for FC Cincinnati, and he started play all 90 minutes. And two Acosta scored in that game.
Who was the other one?
Acosta,
Yeah.
Lucho Acosta.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting fact with that one. But yeah, to our question though, for the FC Cincinnati side, Sam, do we see Buka back in this game? I hope so. Being at home, maybe it's easier for him to run to the hospital if he needs
Yeah.
to, if that's the situation. But I really do hope so in this game, especially because like we need stability in the midfield.
Yeah, we've seen the Mercy Health training room. I mean, if anything needs to be happen, on site at the stadium, I'm sure that won't be a problem. But yes, as far as the lineup, we'd love to have Buka back. I would hope that we see a similar starting lineup to what we saw against Minnesota, honestly. That
Yeah,
would
I'm okay
be
with that.
the best form. Obviously you can slot in, Kubo in that midfield role again if you need to. Just depends on what you're looking for, what you're wanting.
Yeah, great shout. And honestly, like I totally forgot that they did have the US Open Cup final on Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I was
Um,
looking at their schedule and I was like, oh,
yeah, I mean
how
that's
convenient for us.
in that game you're playing another MLS team. You're going for hardware. They've lost how many finals, in a
Yeah,
row.
yeah, yeah.
So they're going to put their best foot forward and then they're going to rotate against us because they've already clinched or close to clinching, I'm pretty sure, playoffs. They'll probably get a home game too. They're fourth in the West, but I don't think they've quite clinched yet. They will.
No.
Um, but yeah, I think you'll probably see a little bit of a rotated squad for them. But again, like for them, rotated isn't anything, especially for some of their older players. But yeah, Cup final though, a Wednesday before we play them on a Saturday. The Cup final, do you know? I think is that in Kansas City?
I think so.
I want to go back and look at this. So like, what does the travel situation look like?
Yeah, is it
With
easier for
seeing-
them or not?
Are you seeing it anywhere on here?
I am
Oh,
not.
it's in California.
Oh.
Yeah, 10:30 game at BMO
Oh,
in
that's a quick
California.
turnaround.
So for them to go from there and then fly all the way across. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm gonna say a
Yeah,
2-1
yeah.
win FC
2-1
Cincinnati.
win. Okay.
But I think, as we mentioned in the last pod, Sam, I think Lucho really steps up his game. You see him score in this last game. He's going to be playing huge players in this LAFC squad. He's going to be inspired. He's going to show, hey, I'm better than Bouanga, who was in the conversation for MVP last year. You're going to see an inspired squad come out, and hopefully, we need to win at home going into the playoffs.
I 1-1. I gotta go 1-1.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think because of LAFC's tired legs, they don't beat us.
Yeah. I think it's supposed to rain Saturday as well, so
Also,
that
it
would be
could be
another
even more in our
interesting.
favor. A little Midwest weather on them.
Well,
Huh?
what does the turf look like is more of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, that's an even better point there. Yeah.
Do you think Teenage Hadebe gets a start in this game?
I don't think so. I mean, the back line, I think right now is actually playing pretty well.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But however, considering we asked for a consistent lineup and Pat didn't give it to us, I wouldn't be surprised if he did start.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, but I have also been calling for consistency. I was just posing the question just to see your thoughts. Do we see any other guys that get rotated? I mean, it's been a full week since the game at that point, so I feel like everyone, as long as there's not an injury in training, like everyone should be good.
Yeah, I think so.
So, all right, well, be a good game. We're going to give you trivia question and answer, Sam, if you're ready.
Yep.
And the question here was, Luca Orellano, how many free kick goals does he have this year for FC Cincinnati? Sam had locked in 4. The answer was actually 3, Sam.
No.
So as a team, FC Cincinnati has had 4. Luca Orellano has had 3. He had the 2 in that one game against Montreal, the long distance one, and then the other one that was deflected. This game, he gets his 3rd. I thought it was a lot more than this.
Yeah. It felt like he had like just another one like outside the box, but
He's
I
hit the
guess
crossbar.
I know he's hit the crossbar, he's hit the post in the
Yeah.
same game, so he's been very, very close.
Lucho has the 4th against New England beginning of
Yeah.
the year. FC Cincinnati leads the MLS in free kick goals scored this year
Wow.
at
Dang.
4.
All
So, little bit of a side note here too. I wanted to kind of shout this out because Luca might be going for some history if he can keep getting some goals. Sam, the most direct free kick goals in a single season is 6, and that was Sebastian Giovinco in 2017. So right now, Luca is sitting in what, 4th right now all time in MLS for direct goals in a season. I had to go back and look for last year. I thought Barrial had several. He only had, I think, 2 from last year.
Yeah.
So
That's
we
crazy. That's a
found
crazy
our
stat.
wizard, man.
Yeah.
Free kick wizard. So hopefully he puts one in. That'd be really cool. Another long distance one would just be insane. Like I said, he doesn't score, average goals. He just scores bangers. Like, let's be honest, every goal by him is just incredible.
Yeah, somebody better hook up the Mike Breen bang as soon as he scores one of them. Yeah.
You can make a highlight tape for everyone that
Bang!
yeah, no, that would be incredible. But we will be with you guys next week, hopefully recapping a win. Thanks again for joining. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.